Thank you, thank you. Good to be here again.
Yes.
Okay, I'm interested in your perspective on a topic that came up for discussion in my adult women's group. The question on the table was whether or not it is appropriate to tell our children about things we did in our youth that were considered immoral, dangerous, or illegal, for example, premarital sex, drinking, or drugs. Some of the women believe that example is such a powerful teacher that to share our dangerous experiences is equivalent to endorsing those behaviors. Others believe in the power of cautionary tales, that their children won't do dangerous things if parents illustrate the consequences by openly sharing their personal experiences. Furthermore, there is concern that the potential dangers of sex and drugs are greater now. Sexual diseases are more deadly, drugs more potent, etc., than they were 20 or 30 years ago when we came of age. Meanwhile, my young women's group, 14 to 16-year-olds, have expressed hurt that their parents won't share more of their personal history because they feel it implies a lack of trust in their ability to discern what is right and wrong for themselves. They sense that the cautionary tales are only half of the truth. They want to learn from their own experiences and believe that they're able to deal with the consequences. On the other hand, these same young women have also expressed disappointment at the realization that their parents aren't perfect, or worse yet, anger at what they perceive as hypocrisy when parents tell their children not to do things they themselves have done. My personal guess is that most kids are going to do what they want in accordance with their individual temperament. And yet as a parent, I can't help but feel a profound desire to protect and guide my children. I want to influence them even if I shouldn't. So could you please share some new thoughts with me?
Well, it's interesting because as you are reading all of these different points of view, every one of them is valid. Mm-hmm. Every one of them is accurate. But if you don't want to talk to your friend about something that feels uncomfortable when you talk to your friend, then why would discussion with your children be any different? We would say, talk to your children about anything that thrills you while you talk to them about, and avoid the subjects that do not thrill you. We would say to our children, we would say to anyone who was looking to us for any sort of guidance or soothing, we would say to them, I've lived a lot of life, and a lot of it has been fantastic, and I'll talk about all of the things that feel good. But there's no point in activating anything that didn't feel good. Don't want to activate it for you. Don't want it to rendezvous with you. The most important thing that you're wanting to say, your children have guidance within them, and their guidance will always take them appropriately. And you cannot guide behavior by what the world says is right or wrong, because you cannot come into agreement about what the world says is right or wrong. You take a group of young girls and you take them to one mother's house who has one philosophy, and she'll talk about different things than if you take them to another mother's house. In other words, don't ask the world to get lined up and be just right in order to nurture your children. The world is lined up just right to nurture your children. What you're wanting to do as a parent is foster your trust in your children's ability to live their life. And so the next thing that we wanted to say as you were reading the different perspectives is we think everybody's making way too much importance about what parents live. We don't think the kids really care that much about what you are living. And the only reason that they're even asking about it is because you're constantly holding yourselves up, as you said, is that hypocritical example or standard of the way things should be. When they're wanting to talk to you about your past, it's usually because they think they've got a pretty valid point to make to try to get you out of their face now, you see. And so we do not think in most natural environments that much of what would come up. In other words, they don't understand your time. They think you lived in the olden days. They can't relate to what you were living, even though it was a very short time ago. They are in a whole different vibrational genre. They are not inquisitive unless you have made them so. Mm-hmm. So we don't think any of it makes any difference.
and really, if we were teaching by example, the relevant example would be the what we're living right now.
You're joyful, and that's the most important thing that you could ever give your children. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. That's like saying, I want to teach my children to be very neat, and so I will make my bed every day. Oh, but now I have to go back and make all of those unmade beds. And we say, you don't have to go back and make all of those beds. Just make your bed. Set that example today. And so the same thing is true. You could not possibly make them understand who you have become by walking through with them all of the details of what you've lived, because from their perspective, they could not understand it anyway. Mm-hmm. It's all a waste of effort, a waste of their life and yours.
Great. That makes it easy. Thank you very much.